Welcome to Caseback Watches. My name is Tim, and you've read the title, Do I Really Need an Offshore Company? This was in the mail. Promise of freedom. Promise of freedom. Here. Certificate of Incorporation. República de Panama. República de Panama. Caseback Watches Overseas Limited is incorporated in the República de Panama as an international business company on this 6th day, blah, blah, blah. Company number 471101. Everything's fine there. So the new owner of Caseback Watches is the Caseback Watches Overseas Limited. Yes, what's going on? Am I in trouble or what? And sort of. The channel is in trouble, or could be in trouble in a few months. And I think this could be a solution for that kind of trouble, and I will explain you why. But first, you know what an offshore company is, right? If not, then you're probably a very good person, but I think this is a valuable knowledge, and so let me explain you this fast. An offshore company is a company outside of your country, outside of your jurisdiction, and it's not connected to your name. Very important. If somebody goes to Panama and wants to know, hey, who's the owner of Caseback Watches Overseas Limited, then Panama, the authorities there, they say, or the idea is that they say, we are not entitled to give you that information, sir, and now enjoy the sights, right? And those companies, they work always together with a bank account. Okay, and then you get a nice credit card connected with a bank, let's say in Switzerland, and then you can transfer your hard-earned money to Switzerland. And the main purpose for this always, or in most cases, is that certain people don't want to pay taxes. They want to avoid taxation of their funds. Okay, that's the main idea behind that. And now the question, am I in trouble with taxes? And the answer is no. I'm not exactly happy to pay taxes because they are quite high, but on the other hand, I'm a heavy user of the infrastructure here. I have kids. I need hospitals, schools, universities, and in my country, universities are for free, and so the parents have to pay for that. Have to pay for that with their taxes, of course. So no problem with that. But I have a problem with Article 13. Article 13 is a fight between the European government and YouTube. And the basic idea is the European government wants YouTube responsible for copyright violations, okay? And YouTube says, no, we don't have anything to do with copyright violations. We are only the owner of the platform, YouTube. We're not responsible for the content. And Europe then, or the European government then said, we make you responsible for that. We will do that. And the response of YouTube, of the CEO of YouTube, they said, if you do this, then we will close every private YouTube channel in Europe. End of the game for everybody. Okay, is this realistic? Is this a realistic threat? And yeah, I will tell you at the end of this video. But first, let's assume the worst case is reality. We can learn something here. Believe me. And I know this is a watch channel, but I learned that that my audience are grown-ups, and so maybe one day you will face a problem like that, not necessarily on YouTube, but maybe on other circumstances, and then you need a solution. Maybe this is a solution for you. And the idea behind this is, of course, that if they close my channel, then the owner, Caseback Watches Overseas Limited, will refound it out of Panama. Okay, and then they will reload all the content because I have backup files, of course, and then I'm back again. Located in Panama then. But the question now is this really secure? Is it handy, or is it madness? And to clarify this, we have to understand the business behind offshore companies. And it's a huge business selling offshore companies. And to understand this, let's assume, or let's imagine a little country, a little island. And our little island has nothing to offer on the global market, on the world market. They don't have any, let's say, gold, copper, or anything like that. Not even bananas, all right? But they need foreign currency. They need US dollars. They need euros to buy something on the global market, because every nation needs, let's say, oil, or need gold or weaponry, okay? Very important for most nations. And so They say we have nothing to offer, then let's create something. Let's sell certificates of incorporation. We print these things here and we sell them together with a file on a server or whatever, and we sell them for, let's say, 500 US dollars. We want US dollars or euros, and we sell this for 500, okay? And then they have their foreign currency. And they sell this to agencies, and you can find them on the internet very easy. And the agency will sell you this certificate for, let's say, 1,000, and so everybody makes a cut. A really nice chunk of money. And if our little island sells, let's say, 100 of the certificates, then they have 50,000 US dollars. Quite a chunk of money. So it's important for those countries to deal with those certificates. It's very, very important for them. And they won't stop without a very severe reason. But they are a problem for, let's say, countries like the United States or United Kingdom or Germany, because those countries realize that a certain amount of capital vanishes every single year. And most governments, they tolerate this because they see this little island, and maybe the little island is helpful in another scenario, in another theater, and so they can go on. They can go on as long as they are really quiet. But keeping things quiet nowadays is very complicated, and it's not realistic anymore because we have whistleblowers. And we saw this when they released the Panama Papers and the Paradise Papers. And those were basically lists with names and companies. And then everybody could read names, and everybody knows that guy, and that guy, they don't pay taxes. And this, of course, is TNT for a society. And what's the reaction now of governments facing Panama Papers and Paradise Papers? They have to solve this problem. And of course, they approached the governments of certain small countries and said to them, this can't go further here. You have to stop that, or... And yeah, that's the big question. What's the or? If the or is a big threat, then maybe there's a chance that a certain country really stops this business model. But that's not always realistic. It's not always realistic. And so in most cases, they force those little countries to invent more laws to make it more complicated, run an offshore company for illegal purposes. Example, substance. They wanted to see more substance. They said basically to Panama, we want that's not longer possible to rent a post box in your country, and then that's the offshore company. We want substance, we want to see business rooms, we want to see employees. And then we have another reaction from the agencies who basically want to continue with their business model, and then they evolved new solutions for that. They rent an apartment in Panama, and they hire a bookie there, and then they have those substance for 100 offshore companies. But of course, this makes it a little bit more expensive to buy an offshore company. Prices today are between 800 US dollars and 4,000. Okay, so it's a little bit more effort, but those agencies, they make a lot of money with that model, and so they always come with a solution against those new laws. And so this means for us, if you are the owner of an offshore company, then you are in an arena and exactly in the middle between, let's say, Panama and the United States. This can be a little bit too much for us, and so it's not for everybody. By the way, legal disclaimer here, I don't want to be in trouble. I don't encourage you to buy an offshore company. Okay, this video is for educational purposes only. And another problem is the bank account. As I explained, an offshore company always works together with a bank who is willing to make business with such small companies, okay? And the authorities, the governments all over the world, they want transparency. They want transparency not only to collect their taxes, but they want to see where is drug money and where is money to finance global terrorism. Very important topics, and so they don't want to see any more bank secrecy on this planet. And of course, this is a problem for agencies who want to sell offshore companies. So conclusion here, for my purposes, I think an offshore company really could be a solution, but it's not as safe as the reputation. Absolutely not. There are huge risks involved, and in my case, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I. Maybe I will use this only for decoration purposes. What do you mean? I mean, I could redecorate my little study here and like those doctors and lawyers with those fancy diplomas on the wall, and my own diploma is really really ugly. I wonder why universities sometimes release those or print those ugly diplomas. I mean, it's important, but this thing, well, something. It's something I really like to see this on my wall here. Okay, yeah, but I think that's it. I think that's it. Maybe we should discuss other solutions for or against Article 13, and I have two other solutions. Um, solution one, offshore company, and solution two is a business partner in outside Europe. You could find a business partner in Norway, you could find a business partner in Switzerland, and then you make a contract with him, and then he is the owner of your YouTube channel, and you are the CEO for the next 200 years, let's say, and everything's okay. But you need a proper contract because imagine you are in legal trouble or your channel is in legal trouble, then the owner is in trouble, and the owner doesn't want that because he's only a puppet. Okay, so you need some coin for some money for your lawyer to make a really good contract. Solution number three. One is the offshore company. Two is the business partner. Solution number three is your own family. You have to scan your family. Maybe you have a family member outside of the European Union. And fun fact here is the Brexit, because I have family in the United Kingdom. Hi guys. And they have a little bit of a chaos right there. I'm talking December 2018, but maybe they will proceed with the Brexit, and then they are not longer part of the European Union, and they are not longer part in this fight with YouTube. In fact, the United Kingdom could be a new place for offshore companies. Yeah, but I could give you Caseback watches to my family in the United Kingdom, and then my aunt is the new owner, and I'm the CEO. So, auntie, if you're watching this, relax. It's not that hard. I will do all the work, but I want the Google revenues. Okay, but now I want to answer the question: do I find this realistic? This scenario that YouTube closes every private channel in Europe, and I don't find this really realistic, because we have to see the European Union is a huge market for YouTube. I think it's the second most important market for YouTube after the United States, obviously. And if they shut down all the little private channels, then YouTube is not longer YouTube. I mean, YouTube, it's in the name. And if Europeans only see American channels and from here Mercedes-Benz and Airbus, then it's not longer fun, okay? That this would be like MTV. MTV was a huge thing, and now nobody cares anymore. Although it's back on air, but nobody cares anymore. And I think YouTube will not risk that. They will arrange something in this solution in this fight, and I think they build up pressure right now. They're building up pressure against the European government, which in such a fight is normal behavior. Okay, if you want more information about offshore companies, I can recommend a fascinating book written by Bradley Birkenfeld. What's the name? Let me check this. Excuse me. Birkenfeld. Bradley Birkenfeld, he was a US citizen. He was a banker for UBS, a huge bank in Switzerland, and he was basically a salesman for them. He traveled through the United States, collected huge amounts of money, capital, transferred it into certain bank accounts, and so he was a partner in crime for avoiding taxation, of course. And he wrote a book. It's called Lucifer's Banker, and he explains there how he basically broke the bank secrecy of Switzerland. And Birkenfeld, he has a ego like the sun. But the substance of his story is very interesting to read, very, very complicated and complex, but on the other hand, it's a pleasure to read that because there's so much involved and you can learn so much. So big recommendation. Another recommendation is a documentary, Panama Papers. It's on YouTube, it's free, you can check it, link in the description. There you can learn a lot more about this phenomenon, Paradise Papers and Panama Papers. And I think now it's enough, right? Next topic will be watches again. And thank you very much for your attention. If you know more about Article 13, or you have other opinions or other information, then please share them in the comments. And if you know other YouTubers in panic, then please share this video with them. And because I think there are solutions for that, we don't have to panic. So don't panic. And now let me thank you again, and maybe until next time.